Watching a loved one slip away from a devastating disease is a horrific experience. But should we hasten a patient's death out of compassion? Janet Parshall tells us more in this week's Moody Radio Commentary.
Nicholas Sparks, the novelist who wrote The Notebook, once said when asked about Alzheimer's disease, "Alzheimer's is a barren disease, as empty and lifeless as a desert. It's a thief of hearts and souls and memories." For anyone who has walked with someone struggling with this disease, you know how right Sparks is. There's nothing more devastating than watching someone you love slip away. They may be there physically, but when the disease starts to take over, your loved one becomes a mere shadow of who they were. We agonize over the long goodbye, and we pray for peace and for suffering to end. But one man in Oregon wants to forcibly bring about the conclusion to the love story between he and his wife. Bill Harris has been married for nearly 40 years. Things changed dramatically when his wife was diagnosed with Alzheimer's in 2009. Today, Nora is 64 and is being cared for in an assisted living center in Oregon. Bill believes Nora is being kept alive against her wishes by being given food and water. He's tried legally to prevent his wife from receiving such care because he believes that is what Nora would want. A judge disagrees, stating that the state mandates that such basic care be given. Bill believes that food and water are not what Nora would want. He says this is not a right-to-life issue, but a right-to-die issue. Advanced directives allow a patient to spell out their desires on end-of-life decisions. Withholding food and water, when it's delivered by tubes, is generally accepted policy, but when the patient can still chew and swallow, things get a bit more blurred. Nora didn't want any special efforts made to prolong her life, but her court-appointed lawyer states that as long as Nora opens her mouth and chews her food, she's giving approval to the nourishment and the hydration. Oregon's been an aggressive state on the so-called right-to-die issue. A bill was introduced in the Assembly that would have amended state law to withhold food and water. It passed in the Senate but failed to go forward. Oregon Right to Life applauded the death of the bill, saying such legislation would open the door to abuse of the most vulnerable among us. So until Nora refuses to eat or swallow on her own, she will continue to receive this most basic form of compassionate care. Death by dehydration can be excruciating. There's nothing compassionate about watching a person die 7 to 14 days after water has been withheld. It's one thing to decide to forego medically aggressive intervention or to withhold medication from a dying patient only to prolong life, but providing a patient food and water is not medical treatment. It's humane care. It meets the most basic of our needs and must be given to all of us, particularly the most vulnerable. There's no denying that Alzheimer's is a horrible disease and that caregivers are truly unsung heroes in this battle to the end. But making someone die by withholding basic care that results in death is not a heroic act. It's the exact opposite. Mother Teresa said it beautifully when she stated, "I have found the paradox that if you love until it hurts, there can be no more hurt, only more love." That's my opinion. I'm Janet Parshall.
Janet Parshall is host of In the Market.